I'm going to be making a video about private schools, Oxbridge, and annoying, elitist, restrictive ways of thinking. So, if you live in the UK, one of the things you will hear is the concept of meritocracy. So, meritocracy is basically the idea that those that work hard achieve. So if you pull up your bootstraps, you will get that job that you deserve. So a lot of the time you have people that are gatekeepers, so will be in positions of power. So for example, head teachers to private schools, academics, a lot of those sort of positions, politicians. You have people who only allow those who think like them, who have been to the schools like them, to get into their spaces and to be part of their peer group. It's very, class in this country is very solidified in that there is no social mobility particularly. There is social mobility for the few, or those who are lucky enough to get through those barriers and to break those doors. But if you don't have the networks, if you don't have the knowledge or access to opportunities to allow you to get into those spaces and to become closer to those room doors, it's even harder for you to experience social mobility. So that's kind of something that I just wanted to touch on before I get into the main topic, which is a private school head teacher comparing private school students not getting into the Oxbridge universities as much as they used to anti-Semitism. So that is a very strong statement to make. And the comments and the views of the parents, which we can, think about here, is really that they're saying that I paid for my son, my daughter, my child's education, so they should be getting into those top universities. I paid for them to get into those top universities. And what it really reveals is the inequality, the structural inequality when it comes to the educational system, and how the social hierarchy, the educational system reproduces inequality. You have the different groups, the sets, set 1, set 2, set 3, your grades. All of the way that the educational system is structured is to reproduce inequality. You're able to pay to get a better level of education if you go to a private school in this country, where you may learn certain skills which will then help you at university, which will make you more prepared for the job market. In comparison to someone who attends a state school, has more crowded classes, does not have the same amount of support from their teacher, and it's not tailored to you in the same way, in that some students need more support and different approaches. We are different types of learners, and at times some students are disadvantaged by the way that the educational system is within state schools. So as someone who went to a state school myself, and I'm from a working class background, this conversation really irritates me, but it's something that I feel that I should speak about, considering the fact that my educational experience was very frustrating due to the fact that I was well aware how unfair things were. And particularly when I went to university is when I realised, wow, those that went to private schools are so much more ahead of me. I think there was a lesson when we were looking at our CVs and the different experiences we have had. And I was just like, wow, I didn't know that this was on offer, but obviously not to students like me. And then you can talk about class and race, and how black people are even more less represented at these Oxbridge universities. Oh, wow. But people don't realise how difficult it is for a lot of us within the educational system, where we don't feel like our voice is recognised, we don't feel like our voice is nurtured in the same way as other students due to things like racism. due to things like sexism. You know, we're discouraged, we're not encouraged in the way that other students are. Then you have the access to opportunities that middle class students have. More specifically, if you've been able to pay to go to private schools, if you have that social capital, your parents have access to opportunities to help you do an internship, all of that makes a difference. These are all of the ways in which the middle class, in which the upper class look out for their own in terms of progressing. To have the audacity to compare more students from state schools going to you know, Russell Group universities, so the top Oxbridge, so Oxford and Cambridge University, to social engineering is just offensive when we are not dumb. We know what is happening. We see the inequality. We see the way the educational system is rigged. We see that with internships. We see that with the fact that if some of these internships are not paid, who are most likely to be able to do that and gain experience? So much things in the job market, in the educational system are unfair. Particularly if you are a person of colour, and even more so if you are a black person, just to make that clear. When I think back to my university experience, I'm like, damn. And when I saw this article, it really just bothered me, because I know how much I wanted opportunities when I was younger, and it just wasn't there. My school didn't have the resources to help everyone progress or learn in a way that they wanted, and a lot of the time it was just handing students books to learn at times, because sometimes the teachers weren't as motivated, and that could be due to things like pay. There's so many different issues happening when you look at the educational system and how it fails so many students. And even the other day there was an article about how Black Caribbean students are most likely to be excluded. Why is that? And I just wanted to say quickly, it's not that these Russell Group, Oxbridge sort of institutions are the be all end all, but the reality is they do create a lot of opportunity. So then there should be more state school students attending these universities, really. And it shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't have to pay for a decent education. We shouldn't have to pay to get better life chances and better opportunities and progress. So as someone who is Black Caribbean, as someone who is a, you know, African proud black woman who is working class, I had to speak up about this subject and just put my thoughts out there, because I'm tired of hearing the same, even if you think about journalism, I'm tired of seeing the same 2 or 3 voices over and over again. So I hope people get something from this video. Please like, comment, share it, share this black working class voice. Bye.